Hi everyone, it's Pocket. Today's video will be another Faceup Process video. I'll mainly be showing you my skin texturing and shading process, because of course I can't show you the whole process. It will be a very long video otherwise. The sculpts I'm painting are a Dolce Aramis in Copper Oriental skin and a mini-me sculpt, a Benedict Cumberbatch Modal sculpt. This video actually starts out with me having just made a mistake. You can see me using a wet magic eraser here to remove a layer of paint I just sprayed on the head. I was using my airbrush and I completely messed up the paint consistency. It was way too runny and it was just all over the place. So I had to remove that, take the head outside, reseal it so that the sealant layers were intact again before I could actually continue with the rest of the face up. And I had to redo the whole airbrushing as well. It was a bit of a mess in the beginning. And that really got me thinking about how the Faceup process is actually very tedious and how it's often overlooked how long it takes to learn these skills, which in turn really inspired me to talk about something in this video. So while the clips are running in the background, you can hear me ramble on about this. Basically, what are the best and worst parts of doing your own face-ups on your own dolls or for other people? For me, I've been a face-up artist for a good amount of 4 years now, and I've been doing face-ups for 5 years, so as long as I've been in the hobby up till now. And I just want to say that all the things that I mentioned in this video are just my own subjective views. It's just the way I've experienced face-ups and still do experience face-ups, so that definitely does not mean that everyone goes through these same experiences that I do. I'm just voicing what I have been reflecting upon for the past couple of face-ups and just thought I'd share it with you. Definitely one of the worst things, one of the worst aspects about doing face-ups is that face-upping or painting dolls is a very precise and unforgiving craft. You have to remember that when you're painting a doll, you are building up layers. So you start with a base layer of sealant. This acts as a protective layer as well as a foundation for all the colors and all the pigments that you're adding to it. And then you're working from there. Every couple of steps along the way, you have to re-seal the head to add another layer to basically seal in what you've just done. And if you make one mistake there, it's really hard to remove it. With paint, if it dries so quickly, or too quickly on the surface of the head, you're not going to be able to get that off again without breaking up all the other layers that you've already done. Same goes with pastels, even though they are a bit more forgiving in a way because they're just pigments. You can brush them off or erase them. However, they can also get stuck onto the surface of the sealant, so if you're using pastels with a very strong pigment and that are very dark, you're going to have trouble even removing those. So you have to be very precise and very decisive in the whole process. You're painting a face, so you have to make decisions about color, about shape of brows, basically about expression. What kind of emotion do you want the doll to convey? And when you're working for someone, you're trying to capture their vision of what they want on their doll. So all these things, it's really tough to make all these decisions sometimes, which is why you need to take it step by step. And if you make one mistake, you're probably most likely looking at a do-over. You have to start from scratch again, meaning removing the whole face up, doing 3 base layers of sealant, waiting for that to dry, and then starting again. But on the other hand, of course, once you have honed these skills, you are basically entitled to complete freedom of expression. You have the power in your fingertips to make the dolls look exactly the way you want them to look, which is very empowering. So the amount of skills that you learn in the process equals freedom of expression and freedom of creative movement. It's like an artist that can draw literally anything that comes into his mind. He can express his most fantastical ideas. It's the same kind of concept, of course, because we are talking about an artistic craft here. So even though you have to be incredibly precise and patient with yourself until you have these very precise skills down, and not just painting skills. I mean, also knowledge of skin textures, knowledge of color, what works well with different skin tones. How do you paint lips? How do you paint lashes? How do you use an aerosol can to use your sealant? How do you apply gloss? This is the scope of knowledge that face-up artists have and that they fall back onto. But acquiring that through patience will give you the power to really go full throttle and express yourself entirely. It will save you the trouble of sending off your dolls to a different artist, maybe not exactly having the guaranteed end product that you wanted, just because that artist may interpret your wishes differently than you do. I mean, no one can see inside your head. You can see inside your head. You know what you want in the best of cases. So if you have the ability to do your own face-ups, it's of course very rewarding, but a very tiresome process. And while we're on the topic of patience, probably the second worst thing about face-ups is the amount of time that it takes you before you really become adept at doing face-ups. To this day, it still takes me between 6 and 8 hours to complete in an SD-sized head, to fully paint it, with lashes and all, but that is minus any mistakes that I would make. So if I make one mistake, I have to start the whole process again. So that's another 4 hours, or 6 hours, or 8 hours added to my schedule that I know I've got to invest in creating that face-up. So it just takes an incredible amount of time and patience. Time and patience that not everyone is willing to invest into their dolls, which is why there are face-up artists like me whom you can commission to paint dolls for you, because we have invested a lot of time and we know what we're doing by now. And but even us mere mortals, yeah, we make mistakes too, which is why I wanted to start this video showing you that even after all these years of doing face-up, I still make mistakes, I still mess up, and then I have to start again. And so I cut my losses and grit my teeth and bite the bullet and just go for it. That's just the way it is sometimes. Sometimes you have to be disciplined and you just have to pull through with it. But talking about the best and worst aspects of face-upping, I've come to realize that there is no side that really outweighs the other. So I think both sides stand at opposite ends in a balance, and that there are always going to be moments that are more frustrating, and then there are going to be moments that are rewarding and empowering. But that is it for this video. Those are my thoughts on the subject. I'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts? What do you think is the best or the worst thing about doing face-ups, about the face-upping process? Do you even do your own face-ups, and have you considered maybe trying it out in the future? These are the finished face-ups that I just painted in this video. If you would like to see better pictures, they are on my Flickr. But other than that, I hope you liked this video. Like and subscribe if you like the content that I create. And as always, have a happy dolly day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!